I'm going to try that because it's so hard um, to get that full balance of all of the different tastes. And you should. I mean, I know a lot of people who do Ayurvedic meal preparations, and they're grabbing from each of those categories. But honestly, I'm not that good.
Yeah, it's really hard to do. It's like, you really almost have to have an education in that in order to do it.
Mhm.
So just having a little shaker of the spice, and the spice mix is delicious anyway. All of them that I've had, they're really, really good. And so I find that, it stimulates, it like wakes up my digestion, and it sort of brings my awareness to a higher point when I'm eating because it's just so tasteful.
Yum. And then jumping into another point on food here that you mentioned that I'd love to dive into. Why is lunch your biggest meal? And I'm kind of leading the witness, and I'm guessing that if I'm correct, not just smaller at dinner, but maybe dinner is earlier.
Yeah, yeah. It's dinner like 6 o'clock or before.
Hmm.
I find that I get the best rest at night, and that's. I don't understand the people that are up at the camp where they think that the best thing to do is eat the biggest meal before you go to sleep, because for me that doesn't work with my body. It's like there's a lot of things happening at night. Ayurvedically says one of the fascinating things I learned from Deepak Chopra, one of his books about digestion, was that between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is a natural cycle, a natural pitta cycle, which is the cycle of fire.
Hmm.
And it's the natural time for your body to do house cleaning. And so if you don't have a lot of food to digest in your system can more efficiently carry out that process of purification and house cleaning. And it makes it easier for your system to do that. And my experience is that's true.
Would you say conversely the other peak of your fire is in the middle of the day, and so that's why you're going for that as your biggest meal?
Yeah, it's the funniest thing. It's just like, I've been a student of Ayurveda for 40 years.
Yeah.
And not that I'm, academically studying it, but I've been applying it in my life. And it's so interesting. It's like, okay, so the sun is at its peak. Pitta is at its peak. You start to take a look at things in a much more primal sort of way, where you're connected with everything else, where
Hmm.
you're connected with the planets, and you're connected with the seasons, and everything like that. And so, yes, so it's Ayurvedically to say, okay, it's easier for you to digest more food at the middle of the day because your internal fire is the highest. And I found that to be true with my body. It's like when I started learning about Ayurvedic things from Deepak Chopra and Dr. Vasant Ladd and Dr. John Dillard about 25 years ago, when they started to revive that knowledge in the West. I resisted a lot of things they said because it really wasn't part of what we do in our culture. But over time, I found that I've yielded to those wise recommendations.
Hmm.
And when I have, I've always benefited.
Are there other epiphanies or things that they have suggested that you steered clear of or railed against, and now you're a super strong believer of?
Well, there was one thing that they said about not sweating during exercise, and I thought that was really crazy.
Hmm.
And unless I'm in some really hot climate and in a really hot gym, I find that with the nasal breathing, I don't hardly sweat at all during a vigorous workout. And part of that is possibly because I've got my body fat down to where the body fat is not generating a lot of heat during my workouts. But that was one of them that just sort of like flipped into my mind. And going to bed before 10 o'clock.
Yep.
That was another one. It's like, what are they thinking? And I find that when I do that, I wake up earlier in the morning. I wake up like when the sun's coming up, and I'm just full of energy, and clarity is great, and I get a whole lot more done. And so that was a biggie. So I'm sure there's a bunch of others, but I sort of lose track over 40 years because I learned so many lessons.
and you've incorporated them, so it's hard to remember what you did the other way because now you're in a different place. I know for me the getting to bed early, that was the one I read in book after book after book when you're reading about all these successful people, is they're always talking about you got to get up early, get up in the quiet hours, get on the hours that you have to yourself. And I'm like, I'll do every other bit of advice in the book. Just don't make me get up early. and now I'm a bird. I'm actually up before the birds typically.
Yeah. What time do you get up?
I tend to be up with the birds here. Back home before we moved here, my favorite time to get up was in the 4:30 range. And
yeah, did you know that traditionally in the India culture that is a really auspicious time? Do you know about that?
No, please tell me more. All I know is it both feels good, I have crystal clear clarity, and it feels like other minds are quiet, and so I can tap or chisel in better.
Yes. It's there's a term for it in Vedic knowledge called Navaswam. That's that time of day, just before dawn. And it's supposed to be a very auspicious time when all of nature is just starting to wake up, where that liveliness is just starting to happen. So everything is really very, very fresh. And like one of my favorite things would be to get up and meditate at that time a day, because it's the perfect time. It's like, and so there's another example of a natural cycle of nature, and just flowing with that natural cycle of nature brings you all these benefits. And I find if I meditate, and then by the time I'm done meditating, I get up and do the sun salutations. And especially if I leave the window or the door open when I'm doing the sun salutations, and the breeze that comes in right at sunrise is a special. It's very enlivening. It's very has really good energy to it. So
have you noticed? And I'm guessing you have. When I'm out for a sunrise run or a sunrise walk, just at the moment of sunrise, there's this very special wind that comes through.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's like it's loaded. It seems like if you were talking about it in terms of food, you would say it's loaded with nutrients.
Oh yes, sunrise is nutrition, absolutely. And it's getting way off topic, but I gaze myself, so it's really loaded with nutrition.
Yeah.
So, all right, what do you want to share with people about MetaZone method? Where do you want to send them?
Okay, well, I am currently, if you go to MetaZoneSystem.com, it's my sales page for that program. And I'm in the process of starting a new website up, because I felt that the MetaZone, even though it's a good system, it didn't encompass everything. that I've learned over my lifetime. So I'm having a new website created called themindfulbody.org, but it's really not functioning. It's not functioning yet, and I'm working on it. And it will include everything of the MetaZone system and more, because I want to instruct people on easy, effortless ways to meditate that can be sustainable and easy to do. So, and also have really great results. So that, I'm just continuing along in those lines.
So then this segues into one last question that came up earlier when you were talking about meditating with the sunrise. Is there a technique or tip or something that you can share with our audience on meditation?
Yes. So the biggest thing, I started meditating back in 1975, and I had such a good experience that I continued every day. And I counted up my hours, and I have probably meditated for over 27,000 hours. But it's all been effortless. I haven't had to force myself to sit down.
Mm-hmm. Which is pretty amazing.
Well, there are many types of meditation out there. Mm-hmm. But number one, I would really highly recommend people to learn meditation from another person, from a teacher. Because if you try to learn it from a book, there's all sort of things. Meditation is a subtle and delicate practice. And we're not used to having something being simple, easy, effortless, and enjoyable without pushing on it. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times we'll let that pushing mm-hmm. intrude on our meditations. And
by pushing, let's give an example. I want to meditate.
Yes. Wanting to meditate, that's a good thing. But sitting down and closing your eyes and then really, wanting to make it a deep experience, wanting yes. to make it something, wanting to make something happen.
Striving.
Versus, yes. And so the thing is, that's not the way to go. Some people have been able to force themselves to meditate, and gradually, they can withstand the pain long enough so that they gradually start to get something out of the practice, and it becomes easier. What I'm saying is, it's not necessary to start out with that. Relax, let go. Learn from a teacher, because you'll have questions that come up. You wonder, am I doing this correctly? I don't know. And a teacher is the best person, somebody who's already done it for a number of years and has mastered it. A teacher is the best, you'll get the best advice on those subtle questions, because it is a subtle practice. And the other tip that I found to be really valuable is do it at a regular time each day, because the body has its own biorhythms. And as you settle down in meditation, your body gets used to that. And the more that you get in that groove, the deeper your meditations, the more satisfying they'll become if you do them at regular times each day.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Is there a basic type of meditation that you like to start people with?
I find that I have the most success with either sort of a mindful breathing meditation or a mantra meditation. And I'll reveal what I think is the core, most important part of a meditation practice, whether it's breathing or whether it's mantra.
Okay.
And this is sort of universal among a lot of meditations, but it is sort of the it's sort of the honey. It's the distillation of the knowledge, whether it's breath or whether it's mantra.
Mm-hmm.
The key point is when you notice that you're not on the breath or the mantra, that you effortlessly bring your attention back to the breath or the mantra. Effortlessly. You don't try to do it hard. You don't try to block anything out. This is all floating on the waves. And what will actually happen if you allow it, and so you'll do it, and then, like if you're doing the breathing, maybe the breath will get very refined, so that you hardly seems like you're breathing, or the mantra will get very refined. It's like you don't even notice it as a sound anymore. It becomes just a vague, faint feeling. You're doing it correctly when that happens. And the goal of meditation, I believe, is to culture the mind in that fashion so that it has the opportunity to go beyond thought and go into that state of pure awareness. So that, in a nutshell, I think is the most important part.
Mind beyond mind. That's it.
Yeah. And it'll happen. It'll happen if you're gentle with it, mm-hmm. and treat it that gently, and trust it. Then it'll happen, and you'll look at your clock and you'll say, "What? I just closed my eyes. It's 20 minutes later. What happened?" That's a really good sign. It's like one possibility is you could have gone to sleep during that period of time, but if you're in the state of restful alertness during that period of time, that means that you've gone beyond. You've gone to that field beyond thought, and that pure awareness is very, very, very revitalizing on all levels.
Beautiful. How important would you say meditation is to you?
The most important thing that I do. It's the most important thing I've ever done. It's like it's opened up a total world to me. I never believed that that there were higher states of consciousness or more advanced states of awareness or any of that stuff, because it's not part of our culture. But man, it's true. And if I had one thing to share here at the end, mm-hmm. as inspiration, after meditating for 40 years and knowing hundreds of other people who have meditated for that period of time, a bunch of them my close friends, we went into this thing in 1975, and hardly anybody knew about it, and there wasn't hardly any scientific research to back it up. And but the thing I discovered was that those things that a lot of the saints, a lot of the advanced practitioners of meditation in different cultures talk about, all those, that it's like a whole realm, it's like a whole world of experience that is open to us, and it makes everything in life richer and more enjoyable, and it can be a progressive thing that just keeps getting better and better. I think that's the most I could say.
I think I may have to have you back and we talk meditation some more.
That would be fun. That would be really fun.
We talk about the non-talk.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. This has been fantastic. I actually feel like the second half of this interview has been, in a sense, a meditation.
Mm.
And I hope the listeners have experienced that as well. You're very centered, you're very grounded, and you're very well, going back to the word centered, heart centered. Um, and you can feel that. There's no way to bluff that or fake that. Uh, your website, one more time, is it Metazone System for now, metazonesystem.com, is that correct?
Yeah, it's META
Yep.
zonesystem.com. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well,
And anybody that wants to email me any questions on anything that we've talked about, they're welcome to do that. It's just joe@metazonesystem.com.
fantastic. And I almost wrapped up without asking why one clincher question that you may have already answered, but I need to ask. What brings you the greatest sense of inner peace?
Love.
Ooh.
Love. Love. Yeah. Love. Love. Love calms, soothes, energizes, expands the heart, and love is the purpose of everything. There's no higher good. It's love is loving every person that you see and everything that you think about until it permeates your whole life 24/7. That's my goal. I'm getting there step by step, but I've never felt any more complete than when I'm in the flow of love.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And a very, very powerful reminder. Oh, and for me personally. So, for everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Joe, for being on the show. This is Michael Sandler saying, be mindful, have fun, stay in that state of love, and share that state of love, and run free. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
That you reside. Doesn't matter, it's a mansion or a rubbish bin. It doesn't matter to me or even to him. All we have is this moment to be grateful for. So free yourself so you can have more of the love and light in our hearts. Oh yeah, that's a great place to